everyone, welcome back to the Avalanche GameFi channel. This is Zach, also known as Trending Aloha on Twitter, and I'm excited to bring you a multi-part series on the battle for Giostone. It's a new game coming to Avalanche in the very near future. Some of you may have already seen the tweets and AMAs from the team, as they've started to gain quite a bit of traction on social media. In this video, I want to touch on a basic overview of the team, what the game is, and why I think it has a potential to be both fun and sustainable, which will be a great change of pace in the GameFi space. So what is Battle for Giostone? It's a multiplayer online battle arena game, think similar to Dota and League of Legends. In Battle of Giostone, there's going to be 2 teams of 5 players who compete against each other to destroy a base that's defended by the opposing teams. I've had a chance to see this on Twitch and a couple of streams. It looks really good. The gameplay is really smooth. I think it really has a chance to be one of a great change of pace in GameFi to not only be fun but also sustainable. If you take a look at the webpage itself, very professionally built, looks fantastic. Has a lot of news, a lot of updates. It's very detailed. You can see kind of an example of the arena that you'd be fighting in, the different types of heroes there are, which are going to be 4 different heroes with 72 abilities you can choose from with a variety of rarities. As you can see, you can continue to scroll down. You get some of the lore that's based around the game, which is great. And then you can even go further down and see examples of the gameplay. You can see the different types of classes that there'll be, from close melee combat to ranged assassins, wizards, and ranged warriors, as well as ranged assassins, and of course ranged wizards. So a variety of ways you can build your teams, which is similar to other Dota, and League of Legends. Which, if you're familiar with that, this you'll fit right in, which I love. They've got detailed information on exactly what each skill is as you continue to build out your characters, which we'll go into detail on in further videos. And then, of course, going all the way down, you can see the 2 types of tokens that there are, which I think is very unique in this aspect, as that they're not the similar governance token that you've seen before, where it's 2 on-chain tokens. So there'll be a non-blockchain version of GST, and then of course the actual BFG traded token, and we'll talk in detail about that in future videos. But first, I wanted to just touch on the team. So very experienced in the GameFi arena. You've got a great team that's really engaged in the community. You may have seen them doing AMAs with Avalanche today. You've seen they're running alphas on Twitch, streaming the game and live gameplay. You can see the game running smooth. And then, of course, they've got members of the team that are very familiar with the MOBA space. For example, you got Theban, who's one of the co-founders. You may know a lot about him from his Dota days, and he's also a previous Axie player. He's very skilled and versed in what it takes to succeed as a MOBA. So as they continue to kind of build out the game moving forward, he's going to be very involved in making sure the right tweaks and adjustments are needed to make sure the sustainability of the game continues on. So I think what's also really interesting is that the fact that they're partnering up and have plans to making sure that this is kind of is very tied into the esports arena. And I think that's an area where we haven't seen GameFi really tap their full potential. And I think a MOBA here is exactly what's needed to kind of bridge that gap between a fun, sustainable, playable game and somewhere where you can earn not just from playing the game itself, but potentially from being a professional esports player or investing in esports teams, or just from the partnerships and exposure that they give you. They go into detail on exactly how they plan to break that out. You also can see them, on their Twitter, also already engaging with great size guilds and esports teams such as Gaming Shiba. They talked with Mad Lads as well. They're getting heavily involved in making sure that this is not just another game that's just on the ecosystem, just an Avalanche. Exposing multiple people to bring multiple players into the ecosystem and into the GameFi space within Avalanche. So I think that's a huge win for everybody involved, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that integrates as the game launches here over the next couple months. So when you look at exactly what each player is and what you can do as far as creating heroes, each player can control a character that has a unique set of abilities. Each ability has a separate class, which can be any of the 6 hero classes that we kind of touched on earlier, from melee warriors, ranged warriors, melee assassins, ranged assassins, melee wizards, and ranged wizards. And all those abilities, you can position something in the first, second, or in the passive or ultimate slots. So, and all those slots can have common, rare, or legendary traits. So that's what it makes it very interesting to see the different kind of combinations you can have with all of those different 6 types of hero classes, you can have 72 different abilities in game, which gives you a wide variety of ways to kind of shape and build your team to take them into battle. So, you can see here on the heroes page, you can kind of click through and see what their basic characters are available for heroes, and you can read about them, see what type of, if they're melee warriors or ranged, their base stats, and then once you kind of go from there on getting your a couple 72 abilities to plug in, you can create just an unreal amount of different types of strengths and weaknesses. So I look forward to that. Once you have your team built, you'll head into a 5-of-5 match against other players. But there'll also be a story mode that you can play as well, which you'll encounter unique creatures that drop materials for a production machine, which gives you the opportunity to produce new heroes. And those heroes as well are limited to a combination of 4 abilities out of those 72. So the objective of the game is similar to other MOBAs you've played. Destroy an enemy base. You have to collect stones that are defended by the dragon Geo to gain power. He spawns at random times throughout the game, either in the top left or the bottom right of the map. And each stone that you collect holds a different power. And the combination of all 3 powers is called the Giostone. The dragon spawns 3 times during the match unless the game's already ended from the other player being eliminated. And each time you kill the dragon, you receive a different power up from the stone. So here's the part where it gets interesting as far as earning the non-blockchain token. So throughout each game or each match, the players will collect GST, which is the utility non-blockchain coin, through the game that they get to keep as long as they win at the end of the match. Every token that's collected is divided between the 5 players on the winning team at the end of the game. So that is one way to earn in the game. But they take it a step further. If say a lot of these games players, especially in the esports time, and a lot of these people that don't have the time or the skill to play the games, they also like to watch. They like to sell on the secondary market. So there's different ways to earn GST as well. So they take it, you can play in game to earn against other people. You get rewarded for maintaining a top spot on the leaderboard and earn both BFG and GST tokens that you can use for to purchase or forge new heroes, and we'll go over that too as well as we get further along. As we kind of look at how the game is played, we can go over their Twitch and see a couple of the videos that they've recorded of live matches that they've had over the past couple of weeks and months as the game kind of develops. And as you look at it, you can see it's smooth, just as you would expect from a game to play. It takes the actual involvement in the game to actually play it and have skill and to win. So it's something that I've watched a couple of times in a couple of different matches, and I think it checks all the box for me as far as games that I loved games like League of Legends. I love Dota 2, and to me this is just a great way to bridge the gap between the old MOBAs and the GameFi MOBAs that we're just starting to see, and it's something I plan on being heavily involved in on both the player side as well as the investor side. They actually do have a tournament that they're running that they had a ton of signups for already, so the interest is already there, and they'll be streaming that as well, upcoming very soon. So stay tuned to their Twitter for that as well, and I think that'll be interesting to watch. So kind of as we watch this kind of stream here, just wanted to talk about the GST token itself. So that's the one that is the non-blockchain token. It's used for in-game credits, kind of like you would use to buy skins and stuff on Call of Duty. And you use the GST is the only thing that can be used to forge new heroes or buy skins from the shop. So you'll need to exchange your BFG, which is the token itself that is on the blockchain, for GST to forge these new heroes. So something that's interesting, as we talk about the BFG token itself, and I'll pull up the tokenomics here on that in a second. I think it's interesting because they're taking an algorithmic approach to make sure that there is no dilution or inflation doesn't get out of control, to make sure that the tokens stay, the price stays reasonable and there's no dumping and all other stuff that we've seen go on some of these DeFi like skin games. So I think that's one way that they're taking away that issue where we've seen in the past that really tanks games and causes them to do the death spiral. So what they're going to do is they're going to use automated forging fees, that they're using an algorithm that they built to adjust how much it will cost to make sure that there's no over or under supply. And basically how that's going to work is similar to how Snail Trail did it, to make sure that they can adjust as needed to make sure that there's no issues with that. So there's no like ridiculously high GST token price that we've seen in the past, and then all of a sudden it just goes straight to zero and it ultimately kills the project. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that algorithm works, and how I feel like they're going to be really on top of it and making sure that it stays stable, because that is the life of their game is going to depend on that. So we'll take a quick look, and as this game goes on, I'm going to switch it back to the tokenomics so we can kind of walk through that as well. So from the tokenomics side for the BFG distribution, which is the on-chain token, it's kind of broken down just as kind of as pictured here. So there'll be 150 million supply that's released over the course of 48 months, with about 33% of that sold in the pre-seed and seed round, or 23%, I'm sorry, of that sold in the pre-seed and seed round at about 3.033 cents per token. And that is going to be, as you can see, vested for 12 months. And then the public will be 100% unlocked right after week 1. And that's going to be about 7.5 million tokens, which is 5% of the supply. And the price on those is going to be roughly somewhere in the 0.053 range. As we get closer to the actual IDO, I think there'll maybe an adjustment or not. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And then you can kind of see how the rest of the tokens are broken down over the course of the next 48 months, and how they'll be unlocked. So keep an eye on this as we get closer to see if this stays exactly the same. I think it makes a lot of sense. I like that we see a lot of projects in the past where the pre-seed is oftentimes 2, potentially even 3 times lower than the public sale, which does cause issues when the unlock rolls around. Because no matter what, they're usually already 2 or 3x in return, and then we can see a dump there. I like the fact that it's less than double, so there is a good chance that people will not be in a rush to sell, especially those that got in during the pre-seed rounds. So I love the way the tokenomics are built on this, especially with the initial distribution and sale, and I think that they did a really good job on making sure that those issues won't be something that happens in Battle for Giostone. And just kind of to round out the overview, I just want to touch on their social media presence across all platforms, and I think this is something that they've done very well, especially for a game that hasn't really launched yet and is still kind of in the alpha and alpha phase here. They've maintained their Twitch stream very well. They've run multiple events over the last 5 days. They have the upcoming tournament coming on, which they're going to stream. So I think they've really embraced the esports and streaming aspect, which I think is really gone underappreciated over across GameFi as a whole. I know Snail Trail kind of tried to do that with their 24/7 live stream on Twitch as well, but that's kind of less player involved and more kind of RNG after you start the race. So I think this is where this differs. You've got a ton of influencers and a ton of streamers that are heavily involved in gaming, especially on the MOBA side, where this takes off, and that's a whole nother aspect where you've got streamers that want to stream just to spread the game. You've got people that want to watch and learn how to play and just have a good time. You can jump across Twitch and see how many different gamers are constantly streaming and how many people are watching. So the more you get out there and kind of push that advertisement and influencers to kind of get your game out there and they're having fun, the more people you'll just bring into the ecosystem. And maybe they just want to play for, throw 30, 40 bucks at it and mint a hero, or buy one on secondary, and they just want to have fun and they want to play, and they can do that without having to worry about tokens and coming up with the best strategy to earn the highest return. But it'll be fun just to dominate your friends or dominate another team from across the world in a game where it actually takes some sort of skill and planning, as opposed to set and forget and hope the RNG works out in your favor. So I love that about this game. I think it's going to be fantastic. I've missed playing stuff like this. I spent a lot of time in the crypto space over the last couple of years, and I really miss getting my hands on a game that I can actually play and have a good time with. So I look forward to this a lot. I plan on being heavily involved if there's a team looking for a player. I'm in. But this one thing that they've done well is put the Twitch stream together, put their channel together very well. And I think this will be a very active part of the game where if you stay here, you'll get the latest and greatest. Taking a look over at their Twitter, their YouTube, their channel's been up. They've got started a month ago exactly how to register on their forum that they've got. They talk about the Web3 economies and how they're going to make a difference here and kind of change the space for the better, which I think is great. And I think we'll see this continue to grow as their Twitch grows as well. And then you take a look at their Twitter. As you've seen over the past 2 weeks or so, it's been heavily engaged with the community. If you look across I think this week, the top GameFi searches, they actually ranked number 6, and that's blockchain agnostic. So across all chains, they were the 6th most searched GameFi project, which I think is fantastic to have an Avalanche project pop up on there. It's great to see. They're advertising for their tournament that's coming up, so take a look at that. If you have a chance to jump over to the BF Giostone or at BF Giostone Twitter, take a look there, give them a follow. You can read all their news. You can watch the live stream that Avalanche did this morning. Mark did a great interview with Theban, and it talks about exactly kind of what we talked about here, as well as going over the tokenomics and how this is going to be different and how Theban's going to be really involved in the day-to-day aspect once the game is launched to make sure that the right tweaks are made to keep this game fun and sustainable. And then there's multiple other AMAs that you can watch as well that kind of meet with the rest of the team and talk about the future of the game. We'll have a couple more videos coming out talking about tokenomics, as well as sustainability, the different types of heroes and abilities that they have, how you can mint and sell those on the marketplace, and really everything that you could possibly think of before the game even launches. So I recommend getting in those, especially the Twitter Spaces or the AMAs. If you have any questions or issues that you want to address, jump in there. Their Discord is up and open. They've got about 4,500 members, which I think is a great ratio when you look at follower count. I like it to be pretty close as far as members on Twitter. They got 3,300 right now and 4,500 in the Discord, which I think is a great ratio. It's pretty active in the Discord as well, and it's still early, and the team is very involved. So get in there, ask questions, and see if you can get your answers. I think you'll be more than happy with the responses the team gives. I know I have in the past couple of weeks just talking with them. It's been fantastic, and they've been easily accessible. So I recommend that as well. If you have any questions on any of this, you can always reach out to me as well on Twitter at Trading Aloha. I'm always available. I'll get back to you. If I can't find the answer, I will get someone who will. And I think that will wrap it up for this week. We will take another look at the tokenomics in the next video. We'll go kind of into detail about exactly how they're going to be different and how they're going to be sustainable. But I think that deserves its own focused video. So again, if this has helped you in a way, understand Battle for Giostone, please give this a like, a follow, and a subscribe on the Avalanche channel. Give me a follow over at Twitter at Trading Aloha. And as always, have a great night, and I'll see you next time.